Hello, everyone, and welcome to the penultimate, the inaugural, the first episode of Cards with Friends, a baseball card collecting podcast where us four idiots just decide to sit down and talk about baseball cards, and why our opinions are right or wrong, and why everyone else is basically going to be wrong. If you are here to get charts on the latest eBay sold listings and where cards are trending up, down, what short prints are the ones you need to target, what the best retail products are for your money, this is not the podcast for you. We don't like math. Math is bad. So, what we are going to be doing here is that all four of us are, we would say, semi casual collectors, but very different collectors. So, what we want to do is provide a perspective for those types of collectors who they just like collecting rainbows, or they just like collecting their teams, or they have certain guys that they go after. What do we do to kind of enhance our collecting, to enjoy ourselves, and just to talk about products as they come out? This is going to be a big week, obviously, with BOWMAN coming out. We also have another release later on that we're going to talk about as well. But we're going to be talking about that again. If you're wanting to know what we think that the best price for a Dylan Cruz base Chrome first is, don't just go at you. There are other smarter people that you can talk to for that. We're going to talk about those guys, but we're going to talk about what our approach is to these products, how we buy products, what we think about in terms of how we're spending our money, because we don't have 50 grand sitting in a PayPal account just to buy whatever we want to try to flip things on eBay, or what the best format, or whatnot, or whatever. We're here just to collect. We're here to have fun with it. And if that means that we open some really cool cards and then we turn them into the things that we want, or they are the things that we want, that's what we're going to talk about. But enough about kind of the general idea of what the show is going to be. Let's talk about my co-host for a bit. We're going to go in counterclockwise order from what my screen looks like anyway. Mr. Adam Weinrib. Adam, what a hat.
Thank you. Go Rangers, go Knicks, go New York sports. That's a bad way to introduce yourself on a podcast to a bunch of strangers. Already makes people fucking hate you, so that's cool. What's up, everybody?
Let them bring their hate. I'm fine with
They will.
Go Braves.
Yeah, they will. I know they will. Yeah, my name is Adam Weinrib. I am a Fanside MLB director, and I've been a baseball card collector since 1999, probably more formally 2001. Like Eric said in the intro, I know bupkis about jack shit, but I also know everything. I've been collecting for long enough that I know exactly what I want, and I definitely have my, look, I don't, like Eric said, we don't track the prices. I'm not here giving you the data down to the decimal point, but I also track my year based on when baseball card products release. I buy the same products every single year. I need the updated information so that I get my calendar accurate. I recall key life events based on what the Yankees did on that particular day, and I would say that I would also secondarily recall them based on release dates and where I was when different years with BOWMAN and BOWMAN draft dropped. So big week. I'm excited to talk about that product, even though not my favorite year, I don't think, but we'll obviously go a little bit deeper into it in a bit. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting topic of conversation with BOWMAN this year, because it's one of those products too that I look forward to, but I don't look forward to paying for it, especially these days, and that's going to be kind of a big part of it. Speaking of which, my next co-host here, one Josh Hill, mortal enemy from the World Series that they very rightly stole from us way back when. You're going to have a tough time buying some BOWMAN this year. So tell us a little bit about, kind of what your collecting is like and what you like, what you don't like, before we kind of go down the rabbit hole that is 2024 BOWMAN.
Yeah, I the World Series that I missed by a year. So the Twins still have not gone to the World
babe,
Series.
you're the baby. You're a baby.
I am the little brother of this group because I am the novice as well. I've been collecting probably actually quite a while. Back in 96, 97, when I was a wee little kid. I remember my uncle got me for Christmas like a bunch of football cards. And that's when the sickness set in. That's when it got started. And ever since then, I actually put it away for a little while. And about maybe half a year ago, like the Spider-Man suit I had put away, I found it in the closet and I was like, oh boy, here we go. Gonna get back into card collecting. And it actually happened with like these eBay breaks, which I'd always wanted to buy into, but I was younger and more responsible and also had less money. So I didn't get into it. And that's how the sickness came back. And now we're collecting cards and we're going big fish. We're going big fishing, big hunting is what we're doing. So big game hunting. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, but it's been a while since I've been collecting cards. big baseball card guy back in the day. Topps 2000 was the big first box that I ever got. So we've been doing it ever since then. But yeah, Twins cards are usually what I'm going to go ahead and search for. Walker Jenkins making Bowman pretty expensive for me this year. But, you got used to it. You waded into those waters with Brooks Lee. So here we are with Walker Jenkins and Bowman, but all those Twins cards. And I will, one of these episodes, Eric, bust out the many Kent Herbeck autographs that I have just to rub it in, even though I wasn't there, just to rub it in.
Yeah, Hill is cornering the market on Doug Bukavich and Kent Herbeck autos. Basically, the only person on eBay that's buying them, and I absolutely love him for it. He also just confirmed
look, if you were a Twins first baseman, you're in my collection somewhere. That's the hit right there.
I just don't know why you had to bring up Herbeck. I feel like this is a shot. Like this is a shot directly at me at a painful point in my life where I still haven't recovered from that. And I was actually old enough to remember it happening. I'm just throwing that out there, Hill.
You picked Eric up and you took him off the bag. That's what you did.
Yeah, first episode. We haven't even gotten to the actual Bowman. I haven't had a chance to let Thomas talk yet. And here, okay, I see how it is. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Finally, we come to, I don't know if we call him the high roller, but he's certainly the guy who's the most likely to make an irresponsible financial decision amongst the four of us. Is one Thomas Carinante. Thomas.
Yes, thank you.
How you collect?
Oh, how do I collect? Well, I first got into collecting as a kid, obviously. Well, I mean, not obviously, I guess, but I remember when I was super young, my dad and my grandfather would buy the entire top sleeves, and they got it for me. My first one was the year I was born, 1990. So when I was cleaning out my old room at my parents' house a few years ago, I came across that set, and Adam, who I work closely with also at Fansided, hit him up, told him about it, and then I got the sickness back in the groove. I started collecting probably a little bit more religiously 3 years ago, 3 years ago. And how do I collect? That's a good question. I do a mishmash of what everybody else does here. I go by what products Adam buys just because I don't know what to buy and I trust what he's doing. I go by the impulse purchases that Eric tells me to do. And then I roll with Hill on any breaks that he's doing because I need that assistance when I'm trying to buy in and go hard at something. So as long as I got one of my guys with me, I'm gonna go after it. But in terms of narrowing down my focus, it's been a bunch of Griffey. I'll show you the Barry Zito purchases I made as time goes on. And I've zoned in on Tim Lincecum too. And I do a lot of selling. I just part with shit that I don't want. And then I take that money and I reinvest it back into cards. And if it wasn't for you, Eric, I wouldn't have known that I had the Phillies special photo variation card in my Topps 2024 Series 1. And that got me $45, which, the hobby box was what, 105 or something like that. So that got, almost half of it back. And then I got to go back into my personal collection and mess around. So yeah, it's coming into focus, but I'm all over the place right now. So you guys gotta help me out. I'm the noob here.
All right, this is yet another reminder that this is not a financial advice podcast.
It is absolutely not.
Because basically, if any one of us suggests something to Thomas, there might be a moment of hesitation, but then 15 seconds later, be like, son of a bitch, I'm in. Like whatever it is, and it's like between Allen and Ginter with Adam, or a break with Hill and or me, or like, hey, look at this card, Thomas. You need it, and so
absolutely.
We are not we're not always the best influence on each other, but we're also the best influence on each other. I think is the best way to put it. So next up for me, I am a lowly staff writer here at Fansided, and I am probably the only idiot that would be like, what I want to do after the work hours? I want to have a podcast with 3 of my bosses. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I've been terrorizing Adam and Thomas literally all day. Occasionally I'll throw a shot at Hill. He's more tangentially, in the line of fire. But as for me, I got started early 90s, 92, 93 Topps. I am a poster child for the worst thing that can happen to a collector is you open a good card, because that's when the sickness gets you. It's when you open something and it's not just like a little good. It's like, wow, that was a special card. And for me, 1993 Topps was when they had the black gold set for the first time. And in that set, they had redemptions. You could open these black golds were already kind of tough runs. I mean, like obviously that product was junk wax, and there's a million of all these cards printed. But there were really rare redemptions where you could get all 4 black gold cards in the set if you mailed in the tops and sent them, by the way, the postage. They would send you the entire set back, and it was a really short. It was a hard pull. Looking at it now, it's frankly embarrassing how excited I was, because those redemption cards that have not been redeemed are not worth money, let alone the cards that you got them, and like those are more common. So again, tough scene for me, but at the same time, that's when the sickness started. I did take time off from probably the late 90s until literally 2016, 2017. I went to college and then started doing other things and just didn't have time for collecting. And I was
Started doing other things.
Yeah, just
Ah,
did
you know,
other, just did
started
other,
living
just,
my life.
yeah, lived my best life, had a kid, all that good stuff. But once, and I'm a big Braves guy, and when Ronald Acuna Jr. came up, I started thinking, I wonder, what are his cards looking like? What are his cards worth? Started looking into it a little bit. And my first box was 2018 tops. And my first box had a Mike Trout out of 25 auto in it. There was no hope for me after that. There's none. I'm like, well, I'm just going to be doing this all the time now. And that's basically what I've been doing ever since. So a big Braves guy. I do a lot of deep dive collecting, a lot of, collecting rainbows. I'll collect my Braves guys. I'm working on a very ambitious Maddox project at the moment. I have a few rainbows. I also have what I believe to be one of the finest Mike Soroka collections on planet Earth. I will put it up against it. If someone has me beat, fine. I can accept that, but they're going to have to earn it, because I've got a very large amount of his autos and various other things, including rainbows. So with the introductions out of the way, fellas, it's time. 2024 Bowman, as of recording, releases tomorrow. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not information out there. They finally decided to give us a checklist that just took them forever to finally make it official. People were opening blasters on YouTube. There's some, a couple preview videos out there with a hobby box, a jumbo box, stuff like that. Thomas, I'm going to go to you first. What are your thoughts here? Well, yeah, see, I put him on the spot immediately. Ooh. What are you think about your initial impressions of Bowman before you even open a pack, before you've gotten anything? What were your impressions of it? What are your plans for it? Like, what kind of are you thinking about what you're wanting to do?
It's a good question. I'm probably the worst guy to ask, because I don't care about Bowman that much. I dabble because I know there's value, and because I like to keep track of younger players and know when they're coming up, and overall just know what the deal is. But I'm covering baseball for so long, prospects are they're fungible assets. There's so many of them. They don't the likelihood of a handful of these guys becoming even all-stars feels like a long shot. And now that Bowman is essentially the true rookie card, right? Am I right there? It's regarded as the true rookie card, the Bowman first. It's changed the game. So I do, last year I did mess around and I got a box of Bowman Chrome, but I split it with a bunch of people because it was too expensive. But usually I just pop in a couple blasters and see if I can get lucky. My overall thought process is I think it's too heavy. I like to gamble. I like to spend money, but this is too heavy of an investment for me, especially with, other products coming out later in the year. We'll talk about Allen and Ginter. We'll talk about Topps Chrome. We'll talk about Series 2, among other things. But yeah, this is where, like last year when, who was it? It was Jackson Holiday and it was Drew Jones. Was that the set last year? Yeah.
Between Bowman and Bowman Chrome, I do get the prospects when they first got their firsts. It's like, because they kind of split the guys, but Drew Jones was in 2023 Bowman. I know that.
Yeah, no, I remember like the prices going up, like the face value of the card box was just going up, and people were, running to the stores, getting them, and card stores were sold out, and you had to back order, and I'm not into that. I like, now that we've gotten into breaks this year, I think my way for Bowman this year is going to be doing a couple breaks, is going to be popping in the store, grabbing some blasters. But in terms of investing in a box or a case, I guess crazy people do cases. That's not my jam. Overall, though, It's for the kids, the young kids coming up. It's exciting for them. They're getting their first card. It's very nice, but it's too much for me to keep track of. So in short, I will be involved tangentially, but I will not be hardcore in on this.
So Hill, you have a top 5 pick from your organization
Oh man.
that is in this product with his Bowman's First and his Bowman's First auto. First, what were your general thoughts on Bowman? But also, are you going to take the plunge and find a way to get at least one of Walker Jenkins autos for your collection?
See, that's the sickness setting, and that's the action becoming more than the juice that I can afford, because the Walker Jenkins card is just driving stuff up. And so is, I believe, looking at the checklist, there's a Walker Jenkins Max Clark dual auto, which is that would be an outrageous pull.
If they're pricing the Twins based on a dual auto, they can go eat dirt. Like, that's ridiculous. But yeah,
well, don't worry. There's also a Walker Jenkins Dylan Cruz dual auto.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
There you go. That's the thing. Like, look, I'm with Thomas on this one. I'm not a huge Bowman guy. Like, my introduction to Bowman was flipping through like the old Beckett price guides that I would get at the book fair. Like, all my smart friends,
The book fair, the Scholastic book fair.
oh yeah, big time. They'd be buying like actual literature and becoming like real smart people. And I was like, where's the price guide? I need it. Even though the cards are still the exact same that they were the year before, I'd get every single one. But my introduction to Bowman is like flipping through those old like Bowman from way back in the day. So my view of them were skewed. So when I got back into collecting, I was like, okay, this is just, like Thomas said, for the kids. This is the young guys. But I do slant a little bit away from where Thomas is going, because it's gotten me more into minor league baseball, which I was never really into before. And, going through some of these cards, a lot of my exposure to it is through the breaks. I can't bring myself to buy a box of Bowman. I'm not a huge just straight cardboard fan anyways. Like, if Bowman Chrome is what we're talking about, I'll get in there with some Chrome. If there's some action on the card, the straight plain cardboard, I'm a little bit out on that, because it's like I'm going to get a bunch of people that I don't know. So I think that's why I kind of started getting more into minor league baseball through Bowman. So if anybody's benefiting from this, it's minor league baseball, because they're getting much more of my money than they were before when I was not doing anything Bowman. So I'm agnostic when it comes to this particular product. I'll get into it if it's there in a breaks or something like that. I will not be chasing a Walker Jenkins on my own money. That's a thing where it's a lottery ticket. If I get into a break, they've got this Bowman in there, and I happen to pull a Walker Jenkins, I'm going to be thrilled. I will not be going out hunting, seeking out a Walker Jenkins, because that is how my bank account is drained even more than it already is from all the cards that I'm trying to buy up. So it's definitely not happening. But yeah, agnostic on Bowman. I'm excited whenever a new product comes out, though, because I do like how, there's a excitement around it with everybody breaking their, boxes and their cases and all that kind of stuff. So I'll get into that. I'll do a lot of YouTube watching. I will not be doing a lot of purchasing of the Bowman.
You talking about Beckett triggered a memory for me where I'd like go look at my card and then look. And I almost didn't even want to see the price. What I wanted to see was that little arrow pointing up. And I'm like, to the moon,
Yep.
To the moon. It's happening. You know what I mean? Next month's issue, this thing's going to be $20. Yeah, that never happened. That was sad. Adam, you and I think, are historically the Bowman lovers. This is a product that we had historically loved. I'm a big minor leagues guy. Like, I got my started in writing, covering Braves minor leagues guys. We got kind of doubly screwed here. One, some of the price issues, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But our guy didn't also get a first Bowman. The guy that we were like, that was the one guy we wanted, and he was on from your favorite team, the Yankees. One Caleb Durbin. So I guess first, why doesn't anyone like him? Since apparently no one feels like he wants to talk like he exists. But also, kind of your general thoughts on Bowman and kind of why your approach has changed a little bit this year.
Yeah, Durbin was such a great call by you too, because all he does is hit at every level. He's not on most of the Yankees top 30 prospect list, but he's done enough, and he was in the AFL last year, and he got some postseason accolades, and you and I were all set up to be like, man, this is the perfect dude to fly under the radar. If he gets a card, it's not going to be that expensive. And anybody who collects the Yankees knows that they're already a disaster zone in terms of price point.
Especially this year.
Yeah, most of the top Yankees prospects, I collect Yankees prospects. I do. But most of the top guys I have to sit out. I don't have any good Dominguez's. I was miraculously enough, I got a Spencer Jones, Bowman Sterling auto before they went crazy. But Bowman Sterling is pretty much as high as I go on some of those guys. Like I can't get a Spencer Jones Chrome auto. Not going to do that. Yeah, I'm a Yankees collector, but it's already tough sledding even without a potential bargain like a Durbin. I'm not going to be, and I'm not buying the Yankees in this break because I don't care enough about Lombard Jr., who's in this checklist, to extend my money that way. And also, Augustin Ramirez is going to be sort of a big hitter in this. And is somebody I'm interested in, but he's got 10 homers at AA already this year and with 110-mile-an-hour exit velocity. So if the price was reasonable a month and a half ago, it's not now. And John Cruz was a big Yankees name, and any Yankee break you buy in, you're going to get him. Well, they traded him to Miami for John Birdie, so he's not even a Yankee anymore. I don't want that. Good, interesting prospect, part of the Yankees group of FCL legends from last year. But in terms, yeah, so this particular Bowman checklist, not my jam. I've been waiting. I'm also from a family of University of Virginia baseball season ticket holders. So this Bowman checklist was also a reminder again, if in case I needed another slap in the face, that not only did the Red Sox draft Kyle Teal, one of potentially my favorite college baseball player of all time, he's in this product. I'm gonna try, but he is a Red Sox. They also drafted Connolly Early, who was the ace of that Virginia team in like the 5th or 6th round. He's also in this product. So I'll try for both, but every time I try for either of them, it'll be a reminder that yes, they are both on the Boston Red Sox. And my bones to pick with Bowman do not end here. Unlike Thomas and Hill, I'm a huge Bowman connoisseur. Always looking for those arrows, like Eric said, so I could go to the card show, Westchester County Center the next month, and poke around for some big names. All my Austin Kearnses have no value now, but that was sort of my first jam. The first card I ever got graded was an Austin Kearns 99 Chrome rookie. So I'm mad at I think two interesting things. One of which I'm upset by, and one of which is sort of a saving grace. Topps stole my Bowman draft from me. I used to get a box of Bowman draft for Christmas every year, and that was 2003 was my first, through probably 2015, and when they switched to jumbos and removed the non-jumbo versions of that product, they priced nice people like me out who used to pay $80 for a hobby box, then had to get used to paying $180 for a hobby box. And then finally they said, you can't do that anymore. We only sell 3 auto per box jumbos and they're $580. Best of luck. And so even my beloved parents, who for years would be like, I'm not sure why we're spending $180 on a box of Bowman draft for Christmas for you, but okay. I finally had to take them aside and say, you're going to look up what you usually buy for me. You're going to see it's now $590 and you're not going to buy it. And they said, okay, great. Of course I would. And so they took a tradition away from me. Mad at Topps for doing that. But the one minor saving grace is that a big change in collecting from when I was 10 to now is that a blaster box used to be what your out of touch grandparents bought you. If they knew you liked baseball cards, they would go to Walmart and go, I got you a box. And you go, a hobby. Oh, cool. I'm excited. There's nothing in these. It's just base and a couple inserts. It's like The Simpsons where they buy Bart wants Bone Storm and they get him Lee Carvalho's putting challenge. Like every time I opened a blaster box, I was like, nice. Oh, I can't wait to open this. And then I'd open it. And Eric knows I open boxes very slowly because I'm always trying to wait, reveal hit.
That blaster takes 3 weeks to open, 100%.
The old timey blaster, when I would get a 2004 Topps blaster there, I'd open it right away because I go, there's nothing in here for me. It's useless. It would be like truly either a gift you didn't want or it'd be scratching your itch. Like I haven't opened a hobby box in 2 months. I'm in a Walmart. I might as well waste $20 on this. Now they're actually somewhat valuable. I love opening the Bowman blasters the last couple of years. I've pulled an auto the last 2 years. I've only opened 2 blasters each of the last 2 years. And I got a lone hobby pack 3 years ago, and I got an Austin Martin yellow refractor out of 75. So that was a hobby pack, not a box. But I've pulled autos from my last 2 out of my last 4 blasters. And the inserts feel more valuable now, and there's some retail exclusives. And so at the price point, it hasn't gone up that much. They're like 30, 35 a blaster. And they were 20 and useless when I was little. So I'd much rather pay 35 and be like, there's a shot I could get something here. So kudos to Bowman and kudos to Topps on that. But big time middle finger to you for taking away my Christmas tradition.
This is a tough one for me because there was a period of time where, so Bowman has, at least this version of Bowman, and not like the 1940s Bowman that looked like it was like on that old Victrola TV frame and stuff like those. Those cards are sick looking, but at the same time, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like the early 90s with like the early Mariano Rivera card and all that other stuff. It has been prospect focused. And Bowman for a while, at that moment when people were like, this is actually a guy's true rookie card, but the rest of the market hadn't quite caught up with that. Bowman was an opportunity for you to outsmart people. Like, I'm going to go ahead and stockpile this guy. No one's looking for this first. It's only a couple dollars, but then when he gets called up, it's worth real money. People weren't speculating when they were like 19 years old. They're like, his auto's $150. No one was doing that. So you could buy him. I mean, there was a period of time, and this was after Ronald Acuna Jr. was, already a known name, maybe not quite as like, the top prospect in baseball. You could get his autos for $20. And those are Bowman's firsts. Now, that makes me, who wasn't buying cards at the time, want to wander into traffic. But at the same time, there was a period of time where you could outsmart people. You can't do it anymore. There's too much money involved. I looked it up earlier. A hobby box with one auto in it to buy right now. You could have got them a little bit cheaper if you did the pre-sale on Topps. It's $275 to $300. A hobby box. A jumbo is $600. You're probably going to end up paying more. Why? There are so many guys that are just, you won't make your money back. You won't. Like, there's not enough Dylan Cruz base cards that are going to get your money back. It's just not going to happen. So I'm with Adam. I feel like Bowman now for the average person is a retail product, because for blasters, I mean, I'm not like thrilled about the idea of blasters being $30 now, but that's far more reasonable than like, okay, I'm going to spend $600 and hope that I hit. Literally one of 10 guys in this whole product is going to be worth that. Another problem I have is that rookie autos and rookies are tough because you only get papers. You know what I mean? There are paper parallels, but there's no chrome versions of the rookies, but they're pricing in like these rookies are just going to be like, these rookie autos are going to be coming out. That's the Yankees problem this year. Jordan Lombard isn't the biggest problem. It's just that you have a chance to get a Jason Dominguez rookie auto. And so that's why it's so expensive in breaks. And that's why it makes things very difficult. Now Bowman Chrome fixes the rookie problem because there are going to be Chrome rookies and all that stuff. But what are you really chasing after paper rookies in Bowman? Probably not. So it's the firsts, and you have to get one of 10 to 12 good names. Dylan Cruz, Walker Jenkins, Aiden Miller, Kyle Teal, Arjun Nimala. Those there are a few names. After that, it is a crapshoot. Now there's going to be 3 or 4 guys that have first in this product that we have no idea anything about them. That in a couple years they're going to be worth real money. If you're the long-term hold and the ultimate dice roll guy, by all means buy a box. But for most people, they should just buy blasters. I look at, and Fanatics has mega boxes on their site right now, $45, and has mega box exclusive parallels in it. A Dylan Cruz Mojo refractor, that would do me just fine. But I'm buying the Braves in a break because they're cheap. They have 3 autos in the whole product. It's like the only time I'm ever going to be able to buy the Braves in a break for a reasonable amount of money because of what they are at the big league level, because the minor league system isn't as good. And all their guys that are pretty good already have firsts. I'm also very pissed about this Caleb Durbin situation because I just fundamentally don't understand why no one just thinks that he has the ability to play baseball at all, or should be willing or able or worthy of signing a baseball card. It just drives me crazy.
I will say, I think it's good that we're talking about this though on the first episode of this podcast, which is like, I hope people listen to it, but it's probably gonna be the least listened to one, and therefore people will not get the idea in their heads. Like, oh, maybe I should think about investing in Caleb Durbin. Leave him for Eric and I, because it's not gonna be.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bleep out his name. I'm gonna go back and post. Boop this guy, and then we'll do a raw uncut version when he's the starting second baseman for team that that we we're like, hey, we sorry you guys missed out. Leave it up for grabs to the point where it could be any Yankees prospect at all. People looking through the entire minor league system rosters being like, it's somebody, but I don't know who the hell it is. It's somebody who's not in Bowman. Yeah, exactly. And definitely don't listen to any recent Yanks Go Yard podcasts to possibly figure out any clues as to who we're talking about.
Yeah, there's no way
So-
this guy has never been on a Yanks Go Yard podcast.
Yeah, it's never happened. It's never once happened.
Thomas Carinante. That's who we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're betting big on Carinante stocks. Where's Thomas's Bowman card?
Where is it? We do
good
need it.
Yeah. So the other product that's coming out a little bit later this month is Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary.
Yes.
This is a weird product for me personally because I really like the design. That 1954 design's pretty. I wish they had gone the more cartoony original look as opposed to like real photos. And again, I'll throw this to Hill first, but I just have one pet peeve. I'm tired of 2023 products coming out in 2024. I'm like, yes, it's nice that I have another chance to get a Gunner rookie or a Michael Harris auto or whatever. But it's May and we're still releasing 2023 products. Like what's happening at that printing printing press, right?
Too many products.
Exactly. Yep. And they're trying to put in too much space between them. It's like they want everything to have time to breathe, but they also want to release 90 products a year. That's the math. The math does not work. So it is a pet peeve of mine. I do like the design. It is something that I might buy a box of. But Hill, have you looked at all about that Platinum Anniversary? Because this is actually one of the products I think I might buy a box.
Yeah, between this and Bowman, I'm far more inclined to take my chances with the Platinum Anniversary, just because I'm a sucker for a card that looks good. Like my thing with the Bowmans too is that, not to just make this like an anti-Bowman episode straight out of the gate.
But we hate Bowman here. All of us. It's already done.
They're the most basic looking cards, and you are buying you're buying stock in the player. And it's like, also, if I'm going to buy a Walker Jenkins and I'm spending that much money on it, he needs to turn into Joe Mauer for that to pay off for me. The way that they're asking for the prices on some of these boxes and inevitably the breaks because Walker Jenkins is in there. Whereas something like Platinum Anniversary, it's a sexy looking card. Like, I like it. That's the kind of thing where I don't necessarily have to buy twins if I'm trying to get into Platinum. Like Eric, you're saying, I'd go out and get a box of this. Like, I didn't go out and get Topps Series 1 when I almost got FOMO when you three went out and
everyone else did.
And I was like, I gotta resist because I like my Chrome cards. And this is one where it's like, okay, now I can get out there. I like the way these cards look. I don't necessarily need to get, twins cards or even like necessarily a valuable card to make it worth my while because it just looks good as part of the collection. I do like the retro look. I'm probably, I don't want to get ahead of myself. This might be a day one purchase for me. This might be the seal didn't break on Topps Series 1. It will break on this. I'll say this too before I kick it back to you. Breaks is how I got back into card collecting after years and years away from it, after dusting it off in the closet. I recently got skunked on a break and they sent me a pack of cards.
Big League?
Yep.
Yes, I got mine today too.
And I opened it up and it was like I could feel it coming back. It was like riding an old bike. And I was like, oh, here we go. Because it had been forever since I opened up an actual physical pack of cards. Everything I'd been getting was from breaks. Just the feeling of opening up the pack of cards. The rush of euphoria coming over me. I'm like, all right, I'm seeing like into the future, the money just draining from all of the boxes and the packs that I'm going to be buying. Because I'm like, this is it. I remember this feeling and I love it. So that's going to be me with Platinum Anniversary. I think I'm holding out. That's the product it's going to be. But again, I say that I'm going to get it. And then that's just the slippery slope. I'm over the moon door in Game of Thrones, just trying not to fall through. It's going to happen.
I think we can all agree that it's Immortal locked in 3 days. Hill's going to send us a picture of 5 Bowman blasters that he's ready. He's about to rip, right? Okay, cool. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. So, Thomas, this isn't a product that I think you have a lot of experience with, if I'm correct in that.
I accidentally bought this years ago. I bought it in, what is it? I pulled it up because I forgot it. It was Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary Edition in 2021, and I bought the light box. And I only bought it because I had enough credit card points to get the light box. So I said, fuck it, I'll buy it. And I still have a bunch of cards from there. I sold one parallel. It was a Brent Rooker Aqua Twins card, rookie card. It went for $25 when he was on his hot streak last
Sure.
year.
There we go.
And I still have a bunch of cool ones. I have like a Grinky checkered one. I have a Nathan Eovaldi one. I have a Roy Oswalt. There was something else in there that was cool. I could pull it up when somebody else is talking, so I don't stop myself now. But this was the last time that I did it, and now I'm doing it again because initially I thought that this, again, I started collecting hardcore 2-3 years ago. I thought this was Topps Chrome. I thought it was that year's Topps Chrome. So I was like, oh, I'll get a box of Topps Chrome. It's cool. And it's the light one, so I don't have to spend, the Topps Chrome hobby is like 2 something. And I was like, oh, I'll spend $85 on this one. This will be great. And it turns out it wasn't Topps Chrome at all. It was just whatever this edition was. So I'm fully in for the one this year. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it feels like a product like it scratches the same itch that Heritage scratches for some people, but I like the cards better. I will say I do wish that like you can like someone painted Jackie Robinson and then they put that on a card. I like that look. Whereas they're like putting real faces. It almost looks a little weird to me, but I do like the design. I think they're pretty cards. Adam, again, not really a product that I would peg you really, except for the fact that you do have some vintage inklings in very specific places. So are you going to be buying any Platinum Anniversary? We don't have a checklist yet, which is actually a big deal. But
yeah, I was actually just checking and seeing if the checklist came out and it didn't, and that's weird. I mean, I'm going to treat this the same way I've treated it in the past probably, which is looking at it, loving the design and not buying a box and then spending like $18 on 2 random autos and being like, done, cool.
That's a good
like,
move.
I think 2 years ago I got Jim Cott and Rocco Baldelli and they both looked sweet and I just like put them away. They showed up in envelopes, put them in a box. I said, hey, I did it. I won a couple auctions. That's great. I wouldn't rule out a hobby box based on the checklist. And I actually like this design better than I've liked previous years. And I also like Chrome anything more than Heritage. Like, I just don't like the hard. If I'm getting a card that's like hard, thick cardboard stock, I'd much rather just be vintage. I don't really like the ones that I like that these innovate on vintage by putting it on chromium paper and stock instead of just being like, we made it like old and we know that the technology's better now, but here's old. Like, I'd prefer just vintage cards. So I'll probably, I know me, I probably will treat it the same way I have in years past, but I do like it and I'd like to see the checklist. And you were roasting Hill like, hey, I know we're going to see some Bowman blasters in your, on your bed next time we do our next show. I've already bid on a James Wood Bowman insert, and I did it during this podcast.
Let's go.
32 minutes.
You beat all of us. I haven't
pre-ordered
James
Wood.
Well,
James Wood is already too expensive to invest in, and I still think he's going to be the best player in baseball in like 2 years, and I still think he's undervalued.
Yeah, I did buy the Braves break a while back, so I guess I'm technically first, but I also like haven't gotten anything. And you're gonna probably be able to scratch the itch before And by the way, shout out to Chad and Ryan at Firehand Cards for sending packs to those of us who get absolutely skunked in breaks. Funnily enough, a pack of Heritage High Number yielded a very difficult photo variation of one Yuri Perez's rookie card that is now in my possession, and that cracked me up quite a bit. Gotta love the error variations coming out of that product that generally doesn't give you anything. So the nice thing about Anniversary One is I like the design. I think for this sort of product, you have to like if it's the same thing with Heritage. If it's a really boring, like there's a reason why they don't do this anymore design, then I'm hard not interested, right? Topps Heritage has the worst parallels in all of sports cards. Where like they have like cards where there's only 5 copies, but they don't number them, and the only way you can tell is because instead of the front being glossy and the back feeling rough, it's reversed, not numbered. You just have to hope that you realize that when you're opening a pack, right? And then for a long time they weren't labeling photo variations. This was a problem that was a Topps wide thing too, is not labeling photo variations. You didn't even know you had them. And like a lot of the parallels look weird, and then they have like these hot boxes where they just have a bunch of purple refractors that for some reason there's just one per pack. Every product should have its own unique identity. I just think that Heritage more often than not misses the mark, even though I do like the vintage look. So this scratches that look for me, but also it really is appealing to me as someone who likes to collect rainbows, because the refractor parallels in this stuff are gorgeous. absolutely gorgeous, especially if it's like a border design. They all look great, right? So I don't think I'm gonna be doing a lot of parallels in 2023 stuff because I've got the Michael Harris stuff that I want, and the idea of collecting a Gunnar Henderson rainbow gives me a stomach ache even thinking about, because that dude's cards are crazy. But I would like the idea of having one of his cards, from that product, because I think he's going to be really good. And I don't have a ton of his stuff, and at the very least, something to trade away for some of the cards that I really want. Having another one of those to pedal around, and who knows, I might get lucky. There's a lot of really kind of dumb autos that make me laugh in that product, and I'm certain to open one of them because my luck in that product isn't very good. But I'm certainly going to give it a try. That's the product release stuff that we know. Topps apparently is incapable of announcing products more than 3 weeks in advance now. I don't know why this is the case, but that's just what they do now. It's whatever, right? Leaf Lumber is a product that comes out later, but that's non-licensed, and it's kind of a weird product. And that'll come out in June, I think. But there's sweet relics in it, but when it's non-licensed, it's just like a guy's name and then like a piece of a bat next to it. Not really my thing. I want to talk wish list stuff. I want to talk about right now. And maybe it's something that you'll never have, but you really want, or it's something that you're working towards, or, just something kind of one of those pie in the sky, like it's not happening anytime soon, but, I look at it often, I think about it. And I'll start with Adam, because Adam's a great case study here, because it could be anything. It could be like the weirdest of weird Allen Ginter cards to, like a PSA 8 of a vintage rookie of a very specific player. What are you kind of thinking about in terms of like, if money wasn't really an object, or if I wanted just to stop spending money on cards for a couple months and save up, what's on your wish list right now?
Yeah, I'm a Yankee fan, but Brooks Robinson is my childhood hero. So like a 58 Topps Brooks or like a 61 Topps Brooks, just like yeah, I mean, it's never ever going to happen, but I love the 60 Topps Brooks too, the horizontal. And here's the thing, like I don't really care about condition at all. So honestly, the low end of if there was like a fair or a poor or like a graded 2 showed up or whatever, I would definitely not be like, let me wait for a more expensive, better graded version. I would just probably go for it. But I would say like a middling condition 58 to 64 Topps Brooks, although I don't like 62 for whatever reason, is my pie in the sky. Most of what I look for is like it's either those vintage or like awesome Hall of Famer autos, dual autos in the $100 to $200 range. Like I sent you a Carlton Fisk and Yaz the other day that it's probably going to be, I don't know, 180, 200, 220. Like I'm not going to buy it, but I collect Hall of Famer autos. I don't have either of those guys. And so in a magical world where I just had $220 to draw, I would put a crazy bid on that, hope it landed under 250 and just take it home. But that's what I look at when I dream, which is weird because I just talked all about how I'm a Bowman guy, but honestly, I prefer the thrill of opening Bowman. I want to really hit a big name, or I want to invest $50 at a time in people I believe in. When I dream, I'm not like, man, I got to get my hands on, a $475 Bowman Chrome Auto.
I can respect that a lot. I think that people set their eyes, like they'll see what something's listed for on eBay, or they'll set their goals too high. Like I want the Ken Griffey Jr. Mickey Mantle dual auto from Upper Deck in the 90s, of which there's basically none of them. And they're like 5 figures easy, like easy 5 figures ungraded. And they're like, that's what I'm going to work towards. I'm like, you've lost your fucking mind. Why would you set yourself up for failure? Like collecting shouldn't be about like one card. It's like the slow accumulation, because it's really satisfying, especially if you set like reasonable goals and you're patient. You're just like, I'm just going to get another one. I'm just going to get another one. And I like that I like your mindset of, I'm just going to, the names I want. Eventually someone's going to sleep on one of these Fisk dual autos, and it's going to be like ending at 2 a.m. And there I'm going to be crying because the next loss in the playoffs, waiting to bid so I'll feel better again. Like I'm telling you, like that feels so much better than being like, if I can't open a superfractor in a break after 4 breaks, then I'm just going to give up. Like that's not fun for anybody. I don't know why anyone, like, that's a painful existence to me. So Hill, you're in a weird spot to me when it comes to wish list cards, because there's some vintage guys for sure that, but there's not I would say a ton of names that are obvious picks. Now, I do respect that you go after the less obvious picks, and you're if there's a $5 auto of a twin, I guarantee you it's in Hill's house now. So like, but for you, like when you're thinking like, what is the card I really want to add to my collection? What is it?
It's not a specific card, and this is actually a hard pivot away from Twins cards. But now that I've gotten back into collecting, it's turning back the clock and looking at cards that when I was a kid and I was in like card shops, or I was thumbing through like Beckett or something like that. It's like, oh, that's a really cool card. It's going back and trying to find those cards. And I'm always specifically drawn to Ichiro cards. Like, I think that's sort of the white
He's the man.
whale project that I will embark on for probably many years, trying to hunt down these Ichiro cards. But like the old like 2001, I vividly remember that 2001 Ichiro Topps card with the nice, the aqua blue border or whatever color that was, teal, those kinds of cards. Going back and finding those, growing up, being like, oh man, I really wish I could buy that. And now being able to go, I can buy that. I am going to go and pursue that. That's kind of where I'm at. And Ichiro is like that big project there. I'm on 2 wildly different ends of the spectrum when it comes to my favorite players of all time. In one corner, we have Ichiro, who is generally considered to be one of the greatest players of all time. And in the other corner is Doug Minkiewicz, who is about as far away from Ichiro in every conversation you will ever have about baseball. But for me, they're always nice and close to one another. So the project will be the Ichiro wall and the Doug Minkiewicz wall, bringing the 2 greats of baseball in my world together. But yeah, that's going back in time and hunting down those old cards. There's something cathartic and it feels good. I'm doing it for young Josh is what I'm doing.
Oh, it's the best. And if there's one piece of advice I'd give any collector, it's find a player that isn't like an obvious star or a money guy, and just go deep. Just collect all of them. You know what I mean? The Doug Minkiewicz, go find all the Jeff Blausers you could ever want. Like, guys, just, you will have so much fun just going down, and it's not expensive, and it's something you can do over time. And again, I highly recommend it to everybody. Thomas, you have rich tastes.
Yeah.
We think and so I'm curious now. If we're gonna be talking mantle rookies, or if you're scaling things back a bit with yours.
No, I'm aimless, man. I need more autos. Like I think when I bought my first box of Topps as like a grown adult, like a few years ago, when I think Adam had me buy, I think I jumped in with Series 2 in like maybe 2020, or I think it was 2020 because it had the 70-year anniversary on it. I got a rookie Roansy Contreras, and he was just traded to the Pirates in the Jameson Tyone deal. So it was like, oh man, I was so close to having a Yankees rookie auto, and it ended up being a Pirates one. And then my next most valuable auto is a Charlie Sheen, Allen, and Ginter. So like my collection is very, very weak on autographs. My goal is a Griffey auto. Griffey's my favorite player. In terms of collecting lesser, stars, I've been eyeing Tim Lincecum, but that's actually proven to be more difficult than not. And Barry Zito is my second favorite baseball player. And I got a bunch of his already, so he's grown the collection a little bit. I don't know enough to like research older autos and stuff like that, where to find value. Again, this is not the place to be for that. But I love the Topps, the museum design. So I've been scoping around trying to find some
Tribute
good ones
too.
there. I came across, never heard of this before. Came across it the other night on an eBay deep dive. Topps Transcendent Collection. Ever hear of that?
Yes. That is not a product that anyone here could ever afford. I'm just gonna tell you that.
No. Well, this Griffey auto has 10 bids on it for $266. It's an absolutely fucking beautiful card. There's only 20 of them. I can guarantee it'll probably get to at least 600. I'm gonna keep
This-
an eye on it. There's 2 days left. It ends on Thursday night at 11 o'clock, so I'm gonna see. But in terms of like what I actually want to do, it's just going to be player focused. It's not going to be design focused. It's just going to be cards that I see that are cool. Because I'm not a historian here, so I'm popping in. I'm trying to have a good time, but I will make the irresponsible purchase to make it all fun for everybody. Here and there, I still got to decide what I'm going to do, but yeah, the museum is really sick. I've been hoping to hit something good on one of those breaks. I just got the I just got the break package in the mail, and I did get a Tatis museum, which is cool, but it's not numbered. So you need the numbered, you need the autos. It makes it more fun. But yeah, my collection's weak on autos. So if you guys have any suggestions for me, I'm ready to dive in.
Major update, I got outbid on the James Wood insert. So 18
Sad.
more minutes. We can.
How much money?
We're at $10.50 right now. If anybody else wants to hop in,
Oh, jump in, dude, go up to 15.
we'll see. Probably
Adam
won't.
doesn't spend money.
I'll probably do 15.
I did 11 for my most recent Zito. Some guy tried to strong arm me at
Corner-
$9. I
corner
said,
in the
You're
market
not
on
doing
Zito's.
that, brother.
So, Thomas, Topps Transcendent is the ultra luxury product.
It is okay.
One box, I'm going off memory, is about $26,000.
26,000? How many cards are in it?
You get an entire set of autos.
Oh,
I forget how
okay.
many it is. There's also like generally a player who's a theme, and you're guaranteed a one of that player, another auto of that player, and then some other kind of premium auto, and it's usually like a crazy cut, and it could be like George Washington and like weird shit like that.
Oh, I love that.
And you also get an invite to this, and again, they only make, I want to say 52 of these a year, like 52 boxes or cases. And they give an invite that it's a Topps party. That player that's featured in the product is at the party. They'll sign your shit, and they give you a bunch of other stuff for going. It's one of those like, it's like Fire Ireland, but there's actually a payoff at the end, right? Like it's like
That's
that's pretty much. So, but don't buy that product ever.
This is outrageous.
I'm
I'm looking at this checklist. The Beckett, the 2023 Topps Transcendent. There's a Shohei Ohtani Ichiro dual auto, and then there's a card that has an autograph from each one of the Beatles on it.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna split this 4 ways. That's gonna be the last episode of the podcast.
It will be, because I will be divorced on the spot. Like, don't worry, I
if
only
you get
bought
the
a fourth
Beatles-
of the box.
If you get the Beatles card, do you get to go to a Ringo party?
No, the invite is a set guy. It's whoever the theme guy is. It's like in every box or whatever. But
So
that'd be
it's
sick.
Ringo. Yeah.
That'd be sick though, for sure.
Yeah.
I'd be like, look, I want to meet Ringo. They're all dropping. I have to meet one of them before they all die. So I actually set this up this way because, again, now that we have wish list cards out of the way, we are also all constantly, to varying degrees, adding to our collections. And one Thomas Carinante has been a busy boy, going from not having cards with one player to having a very non-zero number of cards of that one player. So, Thomas, tell us a little bit what you've added to the PC.
Oh man, hang on, I gotta go to my drawer here. I put Barry in the drawer. I have all the autos. I have all my autos in. I'm gonna do one Barry reveal per episode, and I'll start off with the hottest one.
Okay, it's gonna be a long-running podcast.
And you're gonna know what this is because I don't. Because I just purchased it because the way that I was thinking about collecting Barry Zito was that I need it to have some sort of novelty because, he won the Cy Young, and then after that it was kind of just like, okay, career, whatever. Well, flamed out with the Giants. The contract ended up, I guess, being a bust for back then, whatever whatever those numbers were valued at that point. I got a Topps Archives Signature Series 2020, 1 of 39 or 7 of 39. Can you see because of the glare? You can't see.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. 2002 Cy Young. So it acknowledges he wins the Cy Young, and then on the back, it's an auto, by the way. as you can
Yep,
see.
you can see it. Yeah,
Then on the back, we
color
have
match
this
is a little weird, but yeah.
beautiful description. In an uncharacteristically close Cy Young race, Zito was the narrow winner over Pedro Martinez in the American League. His 23-5 record and 2.75 ERA spoke for themselves, but the 24-year-old lefty's other credentials included league leaderships in quality start percentage and batting average allowed with runners in scoring position. Barry is now a sparkling 47-17 in his career. So the fact that they shade Pedro Martinez, a hated Red Sox of your boy, this is a relic for me right now. And I have two others that I'm going to share as time goes on, but this is by far the coolest one, in my opinion.
I love it.
Acknowledges the Cy Young year, is a cool auto, and there's only 39 in the world, and I have the number 6.
That's awesome.
Here's a question before we get
Yeah.
into it. Do the numbers matter? If I have 1 out of 39, is that a greater value?
Some people like bookends, the first or the last one, and people like jersey numbers.
So if I had,
Uh,
well, yeah, this
I guess there's some weird guy who's like, I need number 73 of everything. But my
Yeah.
guess, generally speaking, if the number, some people like the first one or the last one, or if it's the guy's jersey number. Those things do matter.
Okay.
But beyond,
if there's a weird guy who wants number 73 of everything, I would say just like you don't have to sell to that guy. Like you just don't have to interact with him at all. Don't give him don't give him a chiclet.
that guy better hope that I don't open a card that he needs that's number 73. I'm sending him pictures once a day. Like,
I'm going to be getting letters with mailed letters with each letter cut out from a magazine asking me for the number 73 every couple of weeks. And I'm like, ugh, why did I even open the door to this guy?
Imagine.
So now
that much
explain
effort.
to me, was purchasing the Archive Signature Series, was that smart? Because I don't fucking know.
So value-wise, the shorter printed.
You want to know how much it cost me?
Oh, I'm sure it was dirt cheap.
$37.
That's not too bad.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a relatively low printed card. Archives, a lot of out of 99 autos come out of that stuff. And so like the lower numbers, that's okay. And more importantly, it's the card that you wanted.
Yeah.
It's not now. If you had spent $150, you and I would have to have a conversation. Like you have a problem, right? Like, but like for like 30, like it's an autograph of one of your favorite pitchers who was also a good pitcher.
Yeah.
At some point, it's just like what you're comfortable paying. Like again, not an investment podcast. Go Sport Card Investor. He'll on his graph, he'll be like, sorry, Thomas, you overpaid 20% or whatever.
Get kicked off the episode.
But yeah, exactly. But who gives a shit about that guy, right? Like, I would like for people to not get scammed, and that certainly does happen sometimes by prices. But at the same time, like that expense isn't big enough to be like, sorry, Thomas, you could have found that card for $12 somewhere. I mean, I guess it's theoretically possible, but I'm also sure as hell not going to be like, okay, let's search 2020 Archive Signature Series Barry Zito autos and then sort by lowest price and hope I find the one
Let's
that
do it.
It's well, okay. Thomas is going to buy 3 cards while we're talking, so we'll move over to Adam. Adam, you're a tough one for me because I don't. You don't buy cards like you don't open cards like normal people, like, but you have been doing a little bit of like poking around and looking at stuff, and there's been like some vintage stuff that's been interested you, especially some things that have happened in like in baseball lately. So what have you been adding to your collection? Is there something like that you're kind of planning for as well?
Look, I'll be quick because I actually have not won a single card, I don't think, since the last time that we spoke. I certainly have one card since I last appeared on this podcast because this is episode 1, but
right.
I have not added anything to the PC in a long time. We were having a goofy conversation because I realized when Thomas was chasing Barry Zito's that as a kid, I always had a soft spot for Hank Blaylock because Texas Rangers third baseman Hank Blaylock. Hold your applause, please, everyone. Allow me to speak. He was a All-Star in 2003 and 2004. I also went to the 2004 All-Star game with my dad. It's the first time I ever went to an All-Star game of any kind. So that team, that roster holds special memories for me. So I've had a few in my cart, but I also had this grand vision of reaching out to him. He had an email address, and I was like, I'm going to contact him and tell him. When I was a kid, I sent a bunch of players' cards to sign through the mail. Some of them returned, most did not, but he was the only one I remember who I didn't include a self-addressed stamped envelope to get it returned. And he bought an envelope, wrote my address on an envelope, and mailed it back to me. That always meant a lot to me. So I had this grand vision of, he had an email address that I tracked down. I would email him and say, I'd love to do a story on this and interview you and whatnot. And so far, no response. And I don't know if it's an active email address, so no shade. I still love you, Hank Blaylock. But there was definitely a fever dream half hour where there was a night where we were all talking. I was like, I'm going to start collecting him, and I'm going to do this piece, and we're going to be friends. And so far, we're not friends. So I've held off on making any of these purchases. And if he responds, I think I'll probably buy a couple. But as of now, I'm holding that money for Bowman, holding that money for the summer, and we'll see what I get. And obviously, I'm about to spend $15 on a James Wood insert out of 99. So stay tuned. Come back to me.
Big if true. All right, Hill. You might mean I've been kind of active. You might have been the most active, although I guess we don't know exactly how many Barry Zito cards Thomas is stockpiling over there and currently bidding on while we're doing this podcast. Tell us, show off the goods. Show off some of the Twins goodness that you've been working on.
Yeah, this is the dichotomy of this show. Really, is Thomas is over there investing in like Barry Zito cards, which have like a certain amount of value to them, and then I've bought all of these Doug Minkiewicz cards, which probably cost less than what it cost Thomas to buy his one Barry Zito card, including these graded Doug Minkiewicz cards. One actually came in the mail today, which is I would guess you could say, the actual newest addition to the collection. It is a 1999 Upper Deck solid contact Doug Minkiewicz game used bat, which is the newest edition. But I'll share this one because this one's now my favorite card because of the randomness of it. It's a 2002 Flare. So we're going deep into like the archives here. Power Tools is what it's called. And it's a used bat duel of Doug Minkiewicz and Brett Boone, which is another random pairing of guys here. But that's where we're at with the personal collection. Adding to the Doug Minkiewicz wall of really the cheapest investment I've ever made in cards. It's satisfying me on a deeply personal level of having grown up being a Twins fan, having seen Doug Minkiewicz, and he was always my favorite player with those 2000s Twins teams, and now to finally be able to collect some of these cards. And also the fact that it is not even making a dent in the bank account is perhaps the best part of all of this.
Yeah, I can't say that. My bank account has certainly been dented a couple times. So I tend to be goals oriented because the fundamental reality for me is that I love all of it. And there's a lot of guys that I'd love to collect and have their cards of. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a Ronald Acuna Jr. Bowman's first auto. I also enjoy being married, so I can't buy one, right? So I feel like I have to be organized. And if I'm goals oriented, it allows me to be patient because I'm searching for certain things rather than just like search for 2024 tops, search and then see what pops up and what the algorithm grabs me for. It's hard for me because there's a lot, like I like minor league guys. There's a lot of veterans that I really respect. Vintage cards interest me. So I have to be goals oriented. So like this year, what I want to do, and again, I guess this is kind of like my wish list cards. I want a really nice Greg Maddux auto. I'm going to be really picky about it. Got to be in a Braves uniform, got to be a licensed product, and got to have and ideally also have a really sweet patch on it. Now, those are big asks. I'm also with Thomas. I really want a Griffey auto. They're like getting impossibly expensive now. I'm kind of hoping to like luck into something that allows me to buy one, but either selling that to get one and things like that. But I mean, if I'm telling you, if you want to get your heart broken, just go search Ken Griffey Jr. auto on eBay and then just like look and just be like, they're beautiful, all of them. I want them all. It's just not going to happen. It's just not. So at least not anytime soon. So I do a lot of rainbow collecting, and I'm also earnestly starting to kind of catalog and acquire Greg Maddux cards, specifically from his rookie year through the time he left with the Braves, because I have to cut off somewhere, and I frankly have no desire to look for like Greg Maddux with the Padres and Dodgers cards. Like that's just not something that I have any interest in at all. So I made a list which took literal days to make of what all these cards could be. And I have made progress. So first is actually not in that chase. One of the rainbows I'm working on is from 2024 Series 1, the Braves team card. My hope was that people would not be searching for this card because it's a team card. But as Thomas profitably found out, people like these team cards, and some of the parallels are in high demand and has made my life extraordinarily difficult. However, I have made quite a bit of progress. I am now 4 cards short of the entire rainbow, including the holiday parallels. And the reason that is true is because this guy right here, it's not showing up right there. This is a valuable watering cans pattern parallel, which is the dumbest parallel name out there, but they're numbered out of 5. Of all the cards, other than the one of ones, that one's the hardest one to get, and it just has watering cans on a foil background. But I did find one, and it has now been added to the collection. I'm 4 cards short now, and 2 of them are out of 50 parallels. Then I and then Memorial Day, I've not seen any of these cards. They just haven't popped up. So earnestly looking. Now, as for the Maddoxes, this is actually going to segue into the oddball cards section, because I want to kind of end this and start that one. This is from a set that was short-lived, but is kind of living on in spirit. 1995 Topps embossed, and generally the base cards of these are silver, but I think it's 1 per pack. There's a Golden Idols parallel, which is basically like Topps gold from the early 90s, but it's a sweet gold background. And this was a gift. This was a gift from a friend who knew I was looking for Max cards, and he said, "Hey, do you have this one?" And I'm like, "I sure as hell don't. Please give it to me." Also, I believe Adam will probably know better. 1998 Finest still has the protector on it. Ignore the $3. I did not pay that, but yeah, it still has the protective film on it. I enjoyed that still being on there. And let's just see, making sure. Okay, so this is going to kind of be the start of the we're going to be talking about some oddball, like the oddball cards, either in our collections or things that have caught our eyes, or some weird stuff. Now, speaking of weird stuff, I started this segment by saying that I was limiting my Greg Maddux buying to up until 2003. I instantly broke that rule, because first, this card was mislabeled on eBay. It was labeled 1997, right? And then I looked at it and I'm like, there's no damn way that card's from 1997. It's from 2007. One of the last years that Upper Deck had cards. I don't know why they decided to make this manufactured relic of Maddux. Because like, this logo means nothing to anyone except the guy who designed it, other than the fact that, yes, his nickname was Mad Dog, but I don't know why it's yellow. I don't know why it's not Braves themed, but it is numbered out of 50. It was not expensive, and I couldn't resist it even after I discovered the fact that it was out. So I'm like, okay, that's too weird not to have. Also in the Maddux vein, I've talked a bit about this, and this is from Flair, by the way. This is 1994 Flair. These came 1 per box. They're called the Hot Gloves inserts. They're one of the first die cuts. I love die cuts. Now, most of the time, they're a recipe for disappointment, because you open them and like, they're the cards that are going to get damaged in a pack because they have weird corners and stuff. But big fan of this insert. Really kind of weird card, shaped like a glove. There's definitely weirder die cuts out there, but one that I enjoy. And also, this is going to we're going to throw this to Adam next, because we're going to go into a product that he is avidly familiar with. Alan Ginter is the weirdest product. It just is. There's strange cards that come out of that stuff. But one of the things that made me the happiest was someone that I think that we all thoroughly love and are just one of our favorite people, Sarah Langs, got a card, including an auto, including relics. And I am also 2 cards away from completing that entire rainbow, including this gem right here. Nice little framed auto of Sarah. And what I can only assume is someone else's shirt that they stole and just decided to have Sarah hold for a few minutes, and then turned into her relic as well. That's been fun to collect. Also has a parallel in it that has been driving me crazy. The no number on back parallel, numbered out of 50, that I'm sure someone has and has no idea what they had. So those are some of my oddballs. Certainly a lot of them to be sampled from with collecting these days. And our resident oddball collector, Adam, I'm gonna throw it to you first. So tell what oddball card of the week, thought of the week. Let's get weird.
Yeah, so I have an oddball thought of the week. And obviously we love Ginter. I love Ginter. I can't wait till it comes out, probably about 4 months from now. It's the only product weird enough to have non-sport autos that range the gamut. I pulled in my one Ginter box the only auto last year I didn't want to get, which was comedian Kyle Gordon. No shade to Kyle Gordon. Seems like a nice guy, but is kind of a peer of mine, and it made me feel extremely dirty to pull his autograph. It was like somebody I could easily run into. Like, I know his manager. And so I pulled it, and I was just like, oh, okay. I mean, again, good dude, cool card, but I was like, oh, it's like, I'm not going to ask for my friend's auto, so I didn't really want that. My Ginter thought of the day is this comes from old friend Thomas Carinante knows this man, comedian Alex Watt. He has started, he used to work with us. He's a funny guy, writer for the New Yorker. He has started a baseball card collecting newsletter called Pack Rat. Alan and Ginter, Topps' account this week asked for, they showed a picture of a Snoop Lion, not Snoop Dogg. Remember when he was Snoop Lion for 2 seconds? Auto from old 2014 Ginter and said, who do you want to see in 2024 Ginter? Obviously, the responses ranged the gamut. Our friend Alex responded, please make a card that has a tiny mirror on it. Every time you look at it, you'll see yourself and be like, cool, I have my own baseball card. Good suggestion, but most importantly here, Topps responded to him and said, this feels very Gintery, which tells me they're going deeply odd this year and could in fact be entertaining the idea of a mirror baseball card so that you may put yourself in the set. So I just want to leave everyone with that thought. Topps is thinking outside the hobby box. Thank you. This fall.
That there's going to be parallels of a literal mirror drives me fucking crazy, but you know, that's also hilarious. So, Hill, again, you're kind of still getting back into it, but I think you share my love of die cuts. Is that kind of where your oddball stuff, or like, have you even gone even deeper than that?
I do love my die cuts. I'll give you a quick story for my oddball. So when I was in elementary school, Topps was running a promotion where you bring in your report card to a card shop, you get straight A's or whatever, high enough grades, you get a free pack of baseball cards. I brought my report card into this store called Face the Music where I was growing up. And it was actually closing. They were closing down forever. And I brought it in as an innocent kid, being like, hey, here's my report card. I got good grades. Topps says I get a free pack of cards. And they're like, we need to look into this. So he grabbed my report card and went to the back of the store. And when he came back out, he had a giant white box full of probably 500 cards. And he's like, is this going to do? And I was like, yes, that will very much do. And it was all like Minnesota Twins cards and some other stuff in there. And there was like old Patrick Mahomes cards, senior, which I've recently rediscovered. I was like, oh, wow, I had those this whole time. But the best cards that were in there was a bunch of stuff. So there was some like 1980s Hostess cards, Hostess, the bread company, and they were Twins players. And there's a Hostess Burt Blyleven card that I have. That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And it's one of the favorite cards that I've ever found. A, because of the story, and B, it's a Burt Blyleven Hostess card, which almost feels perfect for him. But that when I think of oddball cards, when we first started talking about this, the first thing that popped into my head was my Burt Blyleven Hostess card. Not in great condition, but great condition in my heart.
Based on that answer, I think you're going to enjoy the care package that I'm going to be sending your way at some point.
Is it Hostess
Thomas,
bread? Are you sending me bread? Because I love it.
I don't believe the brand is Hostess.
Bag of Wonder Bread.
But there's entirely possible that at least one of the cards involved is a food product from a time long, long ago, and the card shouldn't have survived this long. Thomas, oddball stuff. Like, you had a really weird one. eBay auction didn't go the way you wanted to, but that weird relic you had was something else.
Which one?
The saber-tooth relic, right?
The saber-tooth relic. Yeah, that's long gone. I don't have evidence of that anymore, but yeah, that was that paid for 2 Allen and Ginter boxes, in case you guys are wondering. So there is value in that. And my Charlie Sheen auto is probably the most expensive card that I currently have in my collection at the moment. Oddball cards though, I'm going back to Big League, dude. Because again, I don't know shit. I'm still learning, but I'm a Yankees fan. I somehow have no Aaron Judge cards. I just don't come across them ever. I've opened countless packs. I've been in a million breaks. No Aaron Judge cards. I opened a Big League last year, and I get this. Aaron Judge blindfolded, hitting a pinata.
Did he?
And the
Did he not?
box
Did he
and
not
the
take the
back of the
blindfold off this
card.
year?
What?
Did he not take the blindfold off this year? Is that the problem?
That's it. Yeah, in April he was playing blindfolded. I think that was they were telling the future here. Aaron is forever thankful for his father, Wayne, who played catch with him regularly as a kid. The boy could tell his dad was tired after long days of work, but Wayne never said no. As a high school senior, Aaron raked, watered, and mowed his team's ball field. That's what I got. This is sponsored by Drake Cereal. Drake Cereal is a Toronto-based art brand inspired by sports nostalgia and subculture. So this was designed by a Canadian cereal company. Is that what I'm being told? I don't know.
Big League is a weird enough product that might have actually just like they might have crowdsourced all the
And my
design.
wife likes Big League because she thinks the cards are cute, so she bought me a blaster. So like I've
There we go. There now
she
you're in.
partially has the sickness now because she's like, oh
No.
yeah, those are the cute ones. There was another one with
Just tell her the Topps Chrome looks like those cards. Just be like, oh yeah, they're exactly the same, but they're actually shiny. Like, oh, okay, I'll go get you a box. Wow, these are expensive.
I got a rare Volpe in the blaster that I'm gonna hang on to. It's like a blue foil. There's like there's one in every like 50 blaster boxes or something. So
Sick.
yeah, that's my oddball. I can't no, Eric, I can't splurge 7 oddball cards on the first episode, or else I'll have nothing left. So
Okay,
the slow reveal over time.
A certain amount of preparation happened on my end, Thomas. I apologize that happened. You know what?
Yeah.
You know what, Adam, you're asking all the questions next week or whenever we do this, and then who knows what I'll just put a stack of cards and I'll just hope that I have the answer.
Look at this, Jordan Lawler, Good Vibrations, Big League. I don't know what it is, but it's fun.
There is like in other sports like the downtown like inserts, they have kind of that cartoony vibe. They're real money. They're really expensive. If you get like downtowns of big players like in basketball and football, it's a lot. Like
what's it called? Downtown?
Yeah, downtown's it's a short print.
It's like the CJ Stroud one was like going for crazy amounts of money.
Oh, it's insane. Like again, these are not cards that normal people should spend money on.
Oh my god, the Joe Montana's going for 600.
Yeah,
it's outrageous.
There is one weird insert in Bowman, and Adam may have seen it. Have you seen these Bowman anime inserts? Okay, so picture that, like, I think it's 1947, the brown border, TV looking border, but instead of the guy's picture that guy drawn as an anime character. That is an insert line that is in this product, and it's a case hit. Probably not your thing. It's weird though. And again, like the only one I saw, I'm like, that doesn't look anything like that guy at all. But sure, let's get, if you want to do something weird, like, and it's like, I think it's like 12 or 16 guys that have these in this, but it's a weird thing to do. But at the same time, like, it makes things interesting. Like, again, the one thing that the 90s, especially early 90s, did very poorly is that it was boring. Like, there's just weren't a lot of inserts, and the inserts were always league leaders, stat leaders, the checklist cards that everyone hated to open. Like, oh great, what am I gonna do with this checklist card? Now there's at least like, there's some inserts, and there's inserts that are actually short printed and they have their own parallels, and I think that's been a good thing overall. Well, everyone, that's all we have. This is the first episode. I had an absolute blast talking baseball cards with my good buddies / bosses, who are probably going to be wondering why I was spending all this time working on this as opposed to doing my actual job. Oops, my bad. It's on recording now. Can't take it away. Don't put it on my performance review, fellas. Thanks to all of you who are watching. Make sure you tell a friend. Let them know that the podcast is growing. Again, this is Cards with Friends. We're going to have this up on YouTube soon. We may or may not beat the Bowman release. It kind of depends on how productive I can be tonight. But at the same time, good luck with Bowman, and share the hobby most importantly. Like the biggest thing for me is that there's all kinds of ways to collect. You just heard 4 very different collectors on this podcast, none of which are spending inordinate amounts of money on this. There's still a lot of ways to have fun. There's a lot of ways to find value, and there's a lot of things to do what you love and also enjoy the sport we love. So thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.